So, CGI movies with talking animals. Those always work, right? So, the idea behind Zootopia is that it takes place in a world where mammals evolved into intelligent, anthropomorphic creatures, but they all maintain traits of their former selves. And in this world, there's a rabbit who wants to be a cop. In the world of Zootopia, there are no rabbit cops. All of the cops are creatures that are larger and more intimidating, whether their animal selves were predators or prey. The story. The story is good, but it's slow starting. It's a very slow starting story. There's a plot. As I mentioned, the movie's about a cop, and she has a case. There's a case she's trying to solve. It's the second act of the movie before she even hears about the case, before she's even assigned to the case. And that's a little bit slow starting. It's a little bit slow paced a plot for kids. And the theme of the movie is a little bit complex for kids. Thematically, it's essentially about. I mentioned that the animals maintain some of their traits from when they were less intelligent creatures. The animals are sort of pigeonholed, they're stereotyped in much the way in the real world ethnicities and nationalities are stereotyped in our world. And this is a movie about not letting that hold you back. And that's a great message, except that in the world of Zootopia, these aren't really stereotypes. These are actual factual details about the different animal races. So it's a race in which sloths aren't stereotyped as being slow, they're actually slow. And rabbits aren't stereotyped as multiplying a lot, they do. And um it's about not really about overcoming stereotypes, it's about overcoming actual traits, which is a little complex for kids. We'll get into that in a little bit. So, the dialogue. The dialogue is funny. It's not a consistent laugh riot of a movie, but it's good. The acting is good. I'm not sure I would call any singular performance in the film overly memorable. There's some characters that are, but I'm not sure it's the acting as much as the writing. Your two leads, you have a sly fox. I mentioned the stereotypes being not stereotypes, but actual traits. So you have a sly fox and an impatient rabbit as your two characters, as your two lead characters. They're interesting. Their chemistry is pretty good. The acting is decent between them. Uh, Nothing that I don't think these are legendary characters that we will remember through the years, but they do the job. Supporting cast, a good amount of the fun in this movie is poking fun at the various stereotypes, character traits that the different animal species have in the film. And that is both good and bad. Um, Imagine a really funny movie that was all about ethnic stereotypes. And imagine the movie took the position that every ethnic stereotype was actually true. This is what I'm talking about with the problem of the theme of this film. For a children's movie, this is not quite as upbeat a film as you would imagine. It's not too bad. It doesn't have a downbeat theme, but it's a film in which you definitely feel that defeat is possible. In fact, defeat happens in this film, and you actually do feel that it's not a guaranteed win, as you genuinely usually feel in most children's movies. You know the good guys are going to win, you know the bad guys are going to lose. This is a movie that puts that a little bit more in jeopardy than you usually see in a children's film. The upside, the movie is funny and the movie is insightful. It's a little more insightful than I thought it would be, but it's insightful. The downside, this film takes too long to get to the main plot, the case that has to be solved. It takes way too long to get into it. And for a film that is meant for kids, this is a movie in which the stereotypes for the different species are true. That's a little bit dangerous a message for kids, because if you take that concept and apply it back into the real world, every time they hear a stereotype about a real world ethnic group, they may think that those stereotypes are true. They may believe them. They may think that, okay, the message of the film is to look past the obvious flaws of this ethnic group. But the problem is that before you look past the flaw, you have to believe the flaw. And that's kind of racism. So I'm not sure I like the way this film deals with the theme. My score. Despite the fact that I have problems with the theme, the movie is 3.5 stars. Um, I'm not sure I would recommend it for younger children because of the themes of the film. And even with older children, I think parents should sit down and explain to them the difference between bunny rabbits and foxes and black people, Latinos, and Muslims. Because that's where I'm going with this. If you believe that all foxes are sly, then what will you believe about Mexicans and Asians and, you know, people from the American South? What will you believe if you believe the stereotypes? So it is a 3.5 star movie because it is good. It's that good, but it's a movie that you can't just let your kids sit with by themselves. You have to discuss the themes with them afterwards. Otherwise, it can be dangerous.